Today I'm looking at a wooden coaster at Alton Towers that never was, or specifically a wooden coaster that would have preceded Wicker Man. And this is not something that was just a whisper of an idea one day either. It was something that ride designer John Wardley wanted to accomplish himself, a wooden coaster in the UK. In 2003, plans were submitted to Staffordshire Moorlands District Council for a wooden coaster, something that at that time Towers didn't yet have, and had never had. And spray paint markings were even added to the floor around the park, with proper plans drawn up as well, complete with every single tree. So this was super serious. This was going to be an out and back wooden coaster, which is a type that climbs a lift hill soon after leaving the station, drops, turns, and returns to the station. But the layout is usually a lot more interesting than that just sounded. That being said, there aren't usually a great deal of crazy inversions. This coaster idea is often referred to as the Cross Valley Coaster, as the intended route would have gone between Ugland, or Dark Forest as it's known today, and Forbidden Valley, so it literally would have crossed the valley en route. The area it would have passed through specifically is called Abbey Wood, and it's a part of Towers that wasn't, and as of today, still isn't used as part of the actual theme park. The proposed trains would have contained 5 cars each, with each of those containing 6 people, so 30 riders per train. And the ride station would have been in Ugland, near where Corkscrew was, or where 13 is today. So obeying the tree line rules, the lift hill would have climbed up to tree level, and along the route there would have been drops of about 200 feet. 2 drops specifically. Considering that the big one at Blackpool Pleasure Beach has a 205-foot first drop and Oblivion has a drop of 180, this would have been a pretty impressive coaster for Towers with such a unique and different location. Part of the layout would have come out near Galactica, or Air at the time, and there would have been a second lift hill before the ride would return across the valley and through the trees. In one source, I read that the coaster was to have wooden supports but with a steel track. A maintenance shed, photo booth and a shop were also planned. A lot of the layout would have been quite close to the ground too, so there wouldn't have been as much reliance on supports, so potentially it would have been cheaper whilst really making use of the valley landscape and getting the intensity in without the height, which again is a unique solution for this unique park with its tree height challenges. Some likened the proposed Cross Valley coaster to the ultimate at Lightwater Valley, rest in peace, from the out and back format and how a large portion of the route went through the trees. So earlier I mentioned the tree line rules, and height was indeed a concern, but it was not the only thing that Towers had to be mindful of. To facilitate this coaster, 142 trees would have needed to be removed, and noise concerns were also on the agenda for negative consequences. Ultimately, the plans were withdrawn and never resubmitted, even though Towers did plan to. In 2012, Alton Towers released a long-term development plan. In this, it stated there were considerations for 2 big attractions between 2016 and 2019. I wonder if the Cross Valley Coaster was ever on the cards for these long-term plans, or whether it was ever on the cards again before they settled on Wicker Man. Were they choosing between that and Wicker Man itself? Who knows? And following on from that, will we ever see the Cross Valley Coaster come to fruition, even if the layout were to change a bit? Budget-wise, definitely not anytime soon, but I remain hopeful that one day this could be a real possibility. And as you know, Rita opened in 2004. Maybe its station is in a similar location to where the station for the Cross Valley Coaster would have been. I'm not too sure, but I really hope that Rita just wasn't the replacement and that maybe one day in the future the Cross Valley Coaster could come back to the park. Plans have been drawn up before, and maybe it would be possible to get past the negatives that led to the previous withdrawal. It would draw crowds for sure, and would be a new attraction rather than a reimagining. That being said, I love Nemesis Reborn and Toxicator, don't get me wrong. But with Melon at the helm, I don't know how likely it is that we'll see the Cross Valley Coaster ever, but here's hoping. And that's it. Thank you for watching/listening, and I'll see you next time.